at Lake Hartwell today with Elite Series champion Wes Logan, which is a really cool opportunity because he just came off a tournament fishing for spotted bass.
Yep.
But not the spotted bass you're used to, right?
No, I would say not. It's still a spotted bass, but the ones that I grew up fishing for definitely live a different lifestyle, put it that way.
You're from the Coosa River, and that's a term we hear. Maybe people in Missouri or Washington or Idaho have heard it but don't know what it is. What are the Coosa River lakes? So
basically it's a section of river that runs north to south through. It actually starts in Georgia and runs all the way to the Gulf in the southern part of Alabama. But it starts with the upper end will be Weiss Lake, the second is Neely Henry, Logan Martin, Lay Lake, Mitchell, Jordan, and then it turns into the Alabama River. But I basically cut my teeth fishing I would say the northern, there's we call it the northern Coosa and the lower Coosa, and Lay Lake is, or not, it's kind of Logan Martin, Lay Lake is kind of the southern northern border right there. And they actually fish somewhat different, but they obviously all have the spotted bass in them. But I basically cut my teeth on the northern section, but I fished all of them my whole life.
So we're sitting here on Hartwell, which is a blueback lake.
Yes.
Like Lanier is a blueback lake.
Yes.
Is that what makes the difference between the Coosa River spots and these, or is there something else about it?
No, obviously that's going to be one of the main factors is the blueback, because I've said for the past few years a blueback makes a bass not act like a bass. But no, just the geography around here, the water clarity, like this is a deep, clear highland. I consider highland impoundment looking, as well as Lanier. And where I live, you got muddy water. They live relatively shallow. Not saying they won't live off the bank, but offshore there is going to be 8 to 12 foot, just water clarity. And the fords that like you were talking about the blueback, most of the spotted bass where I live at the Coosa River is going to be focusing on crawfish, little smaller bluegill, and threadfin shad. The only place obviously in Alabama that's got herring is Smith Lake, but that's a whole different deal. But yeah, that's kind of I think the biggest factor in what makes them so different.
Now, when I think if you're part of Alabama, and the Wisconsin people may disagree, but I think of that as the home of the swim jig.
Absolutely, I would say you're right. I don't know how you could argue it, but the Wisconsin people, they definitely have their swim jig deal, but it's a whole different swim jig situation.
So when you're fishing a swim jig down there, it's a bank grass deal usually, or is it just general cover? Any place? What are you looking for Coosa River spots with a swim jig? Yeah,
most of the time, if you want to just target spotted bass trying to swim a jig, you're going to be fishing around docks, dock posts. There's not a lot of floating docks on the Coosa River. It's mainly pole docks, but they really like to get on those. Seawalls is a really good deal, especially during a shad spawn type situation. I catch a lot of spots on a swim jig that time of year. And just basically like hard cover on the bank. And you will catch the occasional one, especially on the lower Coosa in the grass. But if you catch a spotted bass in the grass, it's normally going to be a real big one. You kind of don't focus on that for the spots, but you can run into one and it's normally a really good one. But that's kind of where I try and focus on. It's more hard cover stuff, because that's what they like to gravitate towards.
And I also think in your part of the world that shaking is a big deal. The Alabama shake, is that something you do, or do you just straight retrieve it, or how do you decide?
No, I'm a big Alabama shake guy. And anybody who's seen me on live or do any kind of videos, that's what I really, I feel like I'm very good at, would be my forte. I feel like I've done it enough to know when I need to be doing it this way, when I need to slow it down, when I need to speed it up, when I need to change jig trailers, because the trailer is kind of the biggest deal when it comes to a swim jig. Most all swim jigs will swim, obviously, but to get them to do what you want it to do is the trailer. But most of the time down there, you really don't want to straight retrieve it.
Is there a particular swim jig that you like for them?
Yeah, I have my own signature series. We designed it with ARC. It's been out for about a year, and I just took everything that I feel like I've learned over the past 25 years fishing down there, and knowing people that are so good with it that, figured out these little nuances. I tried to combine all of that into one jig, and I think we really did good with that. But it kind of has a compact look to it, but it's still got a really good hook in it. And again, it can be used with any style trailer out there on the market. And that's what I really tried to do. Like I said a minute ago, the trailer is the biggest key when it comes to a swim jig.
So what are 3 or 4 trailers that you like, and what do you like them for?
Yeah, so my 3 go-tos are going to to be a Zoom Z Craw Jr. is probably going to be my number one. Like if I had to go somewhere, or if I said they were coming, like somebody asked me I'm coming to the Coosa, which trailer do I need to use? Definitely start out with a Zoom Z Craw Jr. Color's going to be dependent on, I'll have a white, a black, and some kind of green pumpkin, something like that. Just for those three basic colors, I can mix it up a little bit, but it's just the easiest to use. You don't have to do a lot to make those legs on the craw have a lot of action. Number two is going to be, and this is probably more of if I'm like earlier in the year, if the fish hadn't been pressured a lot, is a Zoom Super Speed Craw, which has the really big pinchers. It kind of looks like it looks like a Batmobile coming through the water, because it's just those big pinchers are just flapping there. But it moves a lot of water, and when those bigger fish are just pulling up, it can get you a little bit bigger bite going behind somebody, something like that. And then basically, I'll throw a super chunk sometimes too. I call them rabbit ears, but it's a Zoom super chunk, and I like to thread it on there sometimes. Other times I'll hook it like a traditional chunk style, just depending on how the fish are reacting to it, something like that. But it's really hard to beat those three for the area of the world that I live in.
I know you keep a boat fully stocked with everything you might need, but someone making their first trip down to fish for Coosa River spots, what are some other baits they might want to bring? Yeah,
I got a few rods out here that is just going to be staples as far as spotted bass goes, and there's a few more that I'll mention, but the first one's going to be a flipping jig. A lot of times, like we're here at Hartwell, like you wouldn't think I'm gonna go catch these spots flipping a jig. But again, the way those fish live, what they eat, the crawfish, it's a really fun way to fish. You can catch them with a flipping stick. I've got mine on a flipping stick with 22-pound shooter from Sunline, and you just go down river banks because that's where they live, and it's just a really fun way to get a bite. You can catch a bunch of really big ones, and there's no experience like flipping a lay down in the river in the current and you hitting a 4.5, 5-pound spot, because it's a fight like no other. Another deal is a jerkbait, which is I feel like is a staple for spotted bass anywhere. I've got an arc jerkbait tied on right now. Colors just kind of depending on the water conditions, but you can run rocky points, clay points. There's a lot of clay points on Logan Martin that they like to get on. That's a really fun bite when you get on it, and a topwater as well. Just a spotted bass can't really resist any kind of top water. I like to throw a blower style. We've got a TB 115 from Arc that's really good. It's a little bit smaller profile. You can throw it a mile if they come up schooling. But that's three, that I've got laid out here. But if somebody was just coming down there just to get some bites, like not worried about tournament fish, nothing like that, it's hard to beat a shaky head, a 1/4 ounce with a green pumpkin trick worm from Zoom and dye the tail chartreuse. I don't know what the deal with that is, but it seems like any spotted bass in the world wants a chartreuse tail on something. So if I was coming there just to get some bites, just get you a shaky head and go throw it any kind of rock.
If someone wants to come down and they want to chase Coosa River spots for the first time, which lake would you pick for numbers, and which lake would you pick for big fish?
So numbers, I'm definitely going to go to Logan Martin. It's a good sized lake that's on the Coosa, and it has so many bass in it. I mean, it has the biggest population of spots, bar none. It still has some really big largemouth, don't get me wrong, but the middle to lower end of Logan Martin has more spotted bass, I think, than any lake on the whole Coosa. If you took a whole lake from a Coosa, and I'm not saying they're all big now, but 1.5 to 2.5 pounders, you can catch a bunch of them, and they just get a bunch of places. They'll get on a lot of humps, docks, rocks, stuff like that. But big ones, definitely the lower end. Lake Mitchell and Lake Jordan will definitely be your bigger spotted bass. The water's a lot clearer there. The environment sets up a lot better for them to get a lot bigger. They like to live off the bank there because obviously the water's a little bit clearer. But the biggest spot I've ever caught in my life, it was like a 7. I was young. It was a 7 something. Caught it on a 5/8 ounce flipping jig on Lake Mitchell in February. The water had gotten dirty and there was a lot of current, and it was a perfect deal. But it's not uncommon to fish a tournament at Jordan or Mitchell or even Lay Lake and have, or anywhere on the coast really, but catch somebody weighs in a 5-pound spot and they're like, oh, that's a good one. Like,
I need some of that. I've caught one over 3 pounds. I need to get down there. Obviously.
Like there's a bunch of 3-pounders. Like it's like people weigh in 22 to 24 pounds of spots at Lay, Jordan, and Mitchell. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really good bag, but it's not like it's going to break world news.
Now, again, I'm going to pit you against your northern friends, but they say the smallmouth are the strongest fish, those Great Lakes smallmouth. Tie a 4-pound Coosa River spot, tail to tail, with a 4-pound Erie smallmouth, who wins? So here's the deal with the smallmouth, and I've obviously been up north enough. I've been on the professional deal for about 6 or 7 years, and I've caught plenty of big smallmouth, and they fight, don't get me wrong. Like, they don't ever give up.
But the difference is, like I talked about a minute ago, when I catch a 5-pound spot on flipping gear and all I can do is hold on with a flipping sticks and 25, 22-pound line, like I feel like where the smallmouth kind of get their reputation of fighting so hard, we're fighting them on a crappie rod with 6-pound line. And I've caught some smallmouth on, you know, on bigger rods, and I feel like I can just kind of horse them a little bit. But they do fight. But it will be a good battle. But it's hard to, because the only smallmouth I think that could really like rival it is a St. Lawrence one because of the current. They both live in current because, I mean, they have to fight it their whole life, so they're just built like rocks. But like Champlain smallmouth, they don't. Champlain smallmouth like to jump. They don't really pull that hard. But the river smallmouth, I think they would be very similar.
Now, you've fished classics. You've been on the elites for a while. You haven't fished a classic in Alabama yet, have you?
I have not.
Are you hearing any rumors of maybe a Coosa River return at some point?
I haven't heard anything. I try not to get into all that. The thing about the classic is, like, where during the year as you're fishing, you don't really think about where it could go because you're just so focused and dialed in on trying to get there. And it's such a blessing and an honor to be able to go to the classic because that's what you dream of as a kid, and you kind of really don't care where you go. You just want to be there and have an opportunity. But yes, it would be very cool to fish in the home state, which I don't know how many people are on the elites that live within an hour of me. It's probably 15 to 18 by now. A lot of the younger guys are starting to move there, but it's just a really great place to live because you have so much. We were talking about it a little earlier. You're within an hour and a half to 2 hours of some of the best fishing in the country.
And if people want to check you out and learn more about Coosa River spots and about you, what social platforms are best?
Yeah, the three that I mainly use is Facebook. It's just Wes Logan Fishing. It's the same on Instagram, Wes Logan Fishing. And then TikTok, I do a lot of stuff on TikTok. Like some of it's like cool videos, just edited and funny stuff, but a lot of educational, like I'll do like rigging or what I like this rod for. But definitely check me out on all three of those. It'll be Wes Logan Fishing, and just that's where I'm at.
Check them out. And if you want to learn more about Coosa River spots, you want to make a trip down, highly recommend you listen to the master.